guest movement around. We do have Charles Robinson from Yahoo Sports back now this week after summer break, so that'll become a regular weekly thing again. But of course, at this time of year, what happens with Charles is he's like, I'm at Raiders camp, I'm at Patriots camp. So I don't know where he is, but we may have to move him around a little bit from his normal 8 a.m. slot today. I'm going to fix the college football playoff with my friend Graham Couch of the Lansing State Journal at 7:30. Best and worst in sports. A Rex rant on the Titans media policy, which is really interesting. And we're going to start with the Titans, of course, Jake, and day one of practice. And I guess the thing that stood out to me from like the overall commentary on day one, and I just don't remember, I guess I don't necessarily remember this as a typical thing, but there's just a lot of talk of how it was just sort of like a lacking in energy practice. I mean, I talked to Connor yesterday, and I know I heard him on the air, and I actually talked to him when I did the rigged Jared versus Joe last night. And that's what, he said, like, that's basically, it just really was very blah out there. I mean, it's practice, but it also is the first practice. So I guess my question would be like, is that concerning that again, I don't remember either, like on first day, so they were like, oh my God, the energy was amazing. I mean, you just expect there to be energy, right? And of course, Cam Ward actually used the word, quote, mid. I don't know if we have like an actual, let's hear Cam Ward.
How would you scoreboard out there when there's no wins or losses? How do you measure progress here during training camp?
Everything's always measured off a win or a loss. Practice is 80 plays a day. That's a whole game. We were mid in practice today offensively. But it's first day. You get better every day. We just gotta, try and just repeat, and not stay the same. Just try to get better.
So there you go. First of all, I like the word mid. It's it's your generation kind of like mid, sketch, sus. What else do we have? It's like words that you can shorten some words and they become cooler words. So I do like that. So I don't know. Is that a worry? I think right now it's like anything with the Titans. It's like you're just gonna probably default to it probably means bad things. So maybe people are overreacting a little bit, but it's just an interesting storyline for a day one of a training camp.
I don't know if I'm concerned. If they had come out and everybody was saying, man, they had great energy level, I don't think that would have changed my thoughts on the team as a whole.
Sure. Yeah, otherwise, it's not going to change your overall prediction or anything. But
you would hope day one that the team would come out firing and ready to go. And I believe you wrote on the grid today, jacked up would be a good word. Like you'd think day one, everybody comes out ready to go. And clearly that wasn't the case, but it is just day one. They didn't have the pads on yet. Like, it might be tough for those guys to go out there when it's 7-on-7 and all that kind of stuff, and it's not real football yet. But I think you would have liked to hear better things out of practice yesterday. It kind of felt like, and I wasn't out there obviously, but based on what I've heard, it kind of felt like the whole thing was just kind of underwhelming in terms of a first day of practice.
Yeah, I mean, look, first of all, these first days of training camp, they are pretty boring. You're not hitting yet. So
right,
and you're doing a lot of. I mean, you're doing like 7-on-7, and you're doing some team stuff. But I mean, it's
how long were they even out there? Like a little over an hour and a half.
Yeah, I think about an hour and a half. So yeah, I don't know. I guess I'd be interested. Every once in a while, you'll see, and this certainly happened, like in Vrabel's tenure. He'd be real mad about a particular practice, and he'd say something about that, and he'd kind of go off. And this happens around the league. So sometimes that'll be like a headline during training camp from a team. I guess it's just like the first day you just don't expect it to be a topic, right? So what are you smiling about, Ian?
Well, no, I was just thinking, like, I heard some people talking about this yesterday. Derek Mason on DVD, he said the same thing. Practice lacked energy, seemed a little bit, lacked some juice. And I was just like, well, the day before, you have your GM and your president go out there and pretty much tell them that you're playing this season as a wash. this season is a wash. You're pretty much just playing out the schedule, trying to get better, and you're not going to win anything. And as a player, you're like, okay, so here I am starting the season, and I got to go the whole season. We're not expected to win any games. The GM and the president pretty much told us we're not going to win any games, and I got to play this whole season and hope to not get hurt and play super hard, knowing it's for nothing.
That's interesting. I mean,
good point.
Well, yeah. So I heard Chris also echoing that sentiment when he went on with Jared yesterday, and
I buy it.
It's interesting. I mean, I hear what you're saying. I do.
I mean, that's
And
a
I
long
also
season to go if you're a football player to know that it's going to be how it could go.
Yeah.
After last season.
Yeah.
And expecting a repeat.
I guess to me, it's kind of like these are professionals. And I'm sitting here because obviously this means that I'm taking Jared's side of an argument, which hurts. I don't want to do that. But because Jared, and Chris were kind of going back and forth on this a little bit. I don't know, man. I hear you, but also, aren't you somewhat as a professional football? Are you so dependent on? I want to hear my GM say we're going to be awesome.
That we're going to win the Super Bowl this year.
That's the thing. It's like, I mean, again, so this Big Joe's causing all these troubles. Big Joe caused the problem by asking about the Super Bowl. I mean, again, it's like, I mean, the initial reaction was to laugh. And let's say you went through the entire locker, because I mean, come on, we all know this is not a Super Bowl team. It's not close to Super Bowl. If anybody on that team, I'm not saying you should be like, yeah, we suck, we're going to lose every game. But if anybody on that team is thinking of it actually entertains Super Bowl ideas, I think that they're delusional. So if you went around the whole locker room, and Big Joe, well, I think we should do this. We should send Big Joe to every single player and ask that question, and then see there will be some guys like, heck yeah, we plan to win every game. But there might also be some guys saying, I'm just trying to get better every day, blah, blah, blah. I
can see that could be something that would affect them. That
at least the day after,
right? Like
day one practice. I don't know. To me, I would be a little bit down just as a player.
You've got 6 months ahead of you, and your GM basically just said, yeah.
You could be cut at any time. We're going to constantly transition over the roster.
Right. The bottom half of the roster is going to be churned. I can see how that press conference didn't add a whole lot of confidence to that room. But also, I agree with you, Joe, that they're professionals. Is it really ruining the morale in the locker room that Mike Borgonzi said, we have a lot of work to do on this roster? Because it's not like he outright came out and said, no, we're not going to win the Super Bowl. He just said,
that is it. That goal every year. That is a goal. We're going to try to win the thing. Okay.
I think it's probably a stretch to believe that actually is the reason for a mediocre practice, but I don't know what else it would be. I guess we'll see what they come out looking like today. Alex from Montreal on the text line says, so anytime someone told me I wasn't going to do diddly, I had to listen. Life doesn't work that way.
Yeah, that you could, right. So, right. You could respond the other way and get mad.
I'm sure
get even.
There probably were some players who were affected by that, but the whole team, I'm not sure that is actually the reason for that. I'm sure it was just, there are practices that are like that throughout every single season, but it's only a talking point because it was the first day.
It's the first day. Exactly. I mean, the dog days are the dog days, and there will be other practices probably that have that similar level of energy, and it's probably fine. But yeah, the first day is the first day. Look, I totally subscribe to the theory that, and it's a very different thing than just saying, yeah, we suck. But when Amy fired John Robinson, I do believe, I absolutely believe that a team that I think would have handled the Jacksonville Jaguars lost, in part because that's just such a jarring thing. Again, that's a jarring, oh my God, what is happening versus really, dude? But I mean, I guess there's some parallel you can draw there.
Yeah, not that I think the Titans that year would have made a run in the playoffs. That team wasn't good enough to do that. And obviously Ryan Tannehill
but they win the division if they win that game.
I think if you don't fire John Robinson that year, the Titans win that division probably by a couple of games. I don't think they finished the season on a 7-game losing streak. but obviously there were outside factors there too.
Right. Now, there was a counteracting voice saying the exact opposite to these guys this week too, and his choice of apparel was also a topic on this here station. We'll get into that next. Robby and Rexrode 102.5 106.3 The Game. Welcome in. Back in. Robby and Rex are 102.5 106 The Game. Jake Lyman in for Robby. The Stanleys enjoying Disney this week. Maybe Universal? Is it just Disney?
I'm not sure. I got distracted by Jake's hat.
Distracted by what?
Jake's hat.
We went backwards hat for this
there we
segment.
go. You know what? That is a great idea. And I actually was going to do that too. I was going to bring a hat in today, and it would have been awesome.
I
we
wore
could
it
have done
for this specific reason.
in tandem.
But yeah, Orlando
I
for
can't
the
take you
Stanley
seriously
family
now.
somewhere. Orlando. Yeah, maybe the beach, he said, too. Try and sneak over to a beach. He wasn't quite sure.
There's no beach over there.
But he said the resort had multiple pools.
Yeah.
So I think he'll be okay.
That'll be fine. Yeah. Multiple pools. And, Allie, probably a little older, I would think, when you want to do the universal thing, right? I would think.
Probably.
A little bit. But they have stuff for little kids, too. So they're having fun. And I guess we're going to have fun now because Jake Lyman has turned his hat around. Well, first of all, let's listen to Brian Callahan's speech to the team. This was tweeted out by the Titans yesterday.
The energy that I felt when you guys came back in the building. I feel your confidence. I feel your excitement, right? Our execution, our effort, and our elimination of sins, right? That's the Titans trio. You want to see execution, you want to see unbelievable effort, and you want to see a team that plays a clean brand of football. Those are the things that we're focused on. What I get motivated by is the way that you guys came into work today. That's what motivates me. That's what gets me excited because I know what we have in this room because I believe in what you guys are capable of. And when you come in the building and you wake up in the morning, that's what should get you going, is that you know you got a group of guys in here that have put a ton of time and effort into it, and that we're going to be a team that plays hard and makes life hell for any team we play because we are capable of being a damn good football team. How many days until we play our first game? Anybody know? 47 days. So we should feel the urgency every time we walk in. It should be urgent as shit. We have to make each other better every day we step out.
All right, that was Brian Callahan as tweeted out by the Titans yesterday. So there's the speech part of that we can get to. Do you have any of little Stilly like screaming about the backward hat?
Not currently.
Yeah, that's fine. We can just paraphrase. He screamed about I think he tweeted this out, right? I mean, I've muted him on Twitter years ago, but I think he tweeted out would Tom Landry wear a backwards hat? Would Nick Saban wear it backwards?
It is hilarious. And that tweet went viral, obviously, because most people probably didn't listen to the segment. I didn't listen to exactly what he said, but the tweet being wearing a backwards hat, Nick Saban wouldn't do that. Bill Belichick wouldn't do that. It's like, well, Bill Belichick wore like sleeveless hoodies.
Yeah, Bill Belichick. Yeah, you talk about looking like a slob. That's one of the words Jared used. Like, he looked like a slob. You want to talk about looking like a slob? Belichick in some of those sweatshirts. And obviously Dan Quinn, as anybody who follows the NFL knows, every game he wears a backward hat to coach in the sidelines. I mean, I think Robby, I think tweeted or sent that tweet to me, right? To you and me, and I think so. And, it's like, is he 95 years old? I mean,
yeah.
What are we talking about here? I mean, so this is like, again, this is sometimes with Stilly, like 4 hours by yourself. Like, this is a great example of, you know what? I need a half hour out of me screaming about a hat. So fine. I will say the speech is like, it's just, I don't know if cringe might be a little strong, but it doesn't seem natural at all.
It felt very forced. The inflections.
And you got your hat on backwards?
Thank you.
I know.
Thank you.
I don't know if I should be allowed to speak. Did I lose all credibility by turning my hat backwards? But it felt forced. It did. Like the little yelling of, and I believe it felt a little bit over the top. And maybe Brian Callahan did something like that because he knew he was being filmed, and there's been talk about, is he holding people accountable? Is he fiery enough? And it came across a little bit forced.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, that's not that wouldn't be, an example of holding anybody accountable anyway. It's just someone raising their voice artificially to try to get fiery. And again, you want people to be pumped up. You're a football coach. It's still football, so I don't know that we'll ever totally lose that. When Brian Callahan was hired here, one of the big topics at his press conference, and I forget who asked him, but there was a moment when he was OC with the Bengals when he completely melted down and screamed at everybody because he was genuinely pissed off about something. Everybody gets there, right? Anybody, even someone who's like laid back and young and kind of chill like Brian Callahan, everybody can get there. He actually got there. So that was an example because, again, it was like a contrast to what you see on a normal basis. But I guess I don't know what all these coaches, you can go through the league. There are other coaches that are similar to him in personality.
For sure.
Do they Do they feel the need to like, and I believe, and, again, it's like you are totally forcing yourself to do this. Lop on the YouTube chat says, why does this speech sounds like it was written by AI? The words were fine. Like what he said was fine.
Right.
It's a fine message. Let's go. It's a first day. It's just like the inflection definitely seemed is unnatural. It just didn't seem,
It didn't seem like he was
just be you, man.
Exactly. But you're right. You look around the league, like I'm sure Mike McDaniel is probably the same way. Matt LaFleur, Kyle Shanahan, like all these young guys aren't going to be Dan Campbell, Bill Belichick, like that kind of guy who it's just natural for them to, light people up.
Well, and real quick. I mean, Dan Campbell, obviously, I mean, his speeches now have become the thing of lore. And I mean, it was like, oh man, I tell you what, man, you do it. I love you guys so much. And that's just who he is, right? I mean, I'd be surprised if Belichick, because I don't even did we ever get any behind the scenes stuff with Belichick? I guess we might get some now.
Right. Yeah.
Hopefully hopefully not too behind
they're
the
doing
scenes.
A Hulu series or something like that.
They finally are. It was canceled.
And then they brought it back.
But I mean, I'd be surprised if obviously Belichick's gruff, tough, but
he's not Dan
speech
Campbell
like that. But even a speech like we just heard from Brian Callahan, to me, it's just like, guys, let's go do your job, get your ass out there, let's go. Right? I mean, it's always interesting. Like this, basically the theme of the show today is what motivates the football team and what and should it matter, right? Like, should it matter that a GM was asked about a Super Bowl when we all know this team is miles from the Super Bowl, and he kind of laughed, and they were just like, what? Like now all of a sudden the team has no juice because of that. I mean, I think it's an interesting point Ian brings up, but also I have a hard time excusing that, I think that's kind of weak. But then you also have this. Look, to me, a head coach in the NFL, the players and the coach. Yes, the coach coaches the players. There's a hierarchy, but really they're coworkers. And so, to me, what matters to these players is that they think these coaches are smart and actually put them in position to win. Right? I just don't think it matters that much about some speech. I really don't.
These guys aren't 12 years old or like high school kids where it's like you gotta fire these guys up. It's like these guys are getting paid lots of money to go do their jobs. I don't know if a fiery speech is going to change all that much.
Right. Some of them are like individual corporations. Some of them are getting paid, I mean, relative to like real life, a lot of money in a short period of time, but they're trying like hell to just hang on in the league. I mean, that should be so much more motivation than what any dude in a backward, forward, sideways hat ever says to them. Right.
This is the NFL. A head coach's job is way more about scheming and making the right decisions in certain game situations rather than can you motivate your team? Like there's part of that, obviously, but and we have seen it. You mentioned with Brian Callahan, the time with the Bengals where you saw him lose it. Like he said he was embarrassed the camera caught it, but last year he lit up Will Levis after that play against the Jets.
Oh yeah.
So
that was real.
Right. That was
real human emotion, and everybody felt the exact same way as he did at that moment.
Right. So that he does hold people accountable, maybe not to the extent that a Mike Vrabel would, and you can argue whether you'd like him to do more of what Vrabel used to do. But I don't know if these front of room opening scene of Hard Knocks speeches that they always put there is actually that important to whether a team is successful or not.
Right. Again, go through the ages. I promise you. And again, we never got this. This is one of those things where you have to base some things on just what you saw in interviews and things like that. I guarantee you, Bill Walsh never was like, let's get out here and murder. I mean, no. He's a professorial, but they knew like this dude has the best offense going.
Yeah, and
he's a good dude, and I like working with him. So let's go. This stuff. It's funny how this stuff gets so like the idea of like playing for a coach. I mean, I think even in college football that's overblown, but at least there's, in college football, it's like, hey, I mean, traditionally it's like, recruit someone when they're 16, 17, I'm going to take care of your son and all that stuff. And there's a relationship. There's still a lot more, and they're younger. And so I think stuff like that,
more impressionable
stuff like that can mean more. Yeah, once you get to this level, again, I'm not saying Callahan should be like, okay, guys, let's just get out to the field and all right, guys, all right, you guys are great. We're buddies, right? We're buddies. You my buddy? Okay, but it was a forced thing. I'd be interested to see the one from a year ago because I don't know. I don't remember them sending that out. Maybe they did, and if somebody has a comparison to see if this is like some intentional, like let's get it ramped up a little bit, baby.
Yeah, it was a little bit cringy. Like it was a little cringy. It felt forced, but again, anybody taking anything from this and saying Callahan's ability to coach, like questioning it, that has nothing to do with his ability to coach. Like I'm not worried. My stance on Brian Callahan doesn't change just because he wore a backwards hat or he kind of fake yelled at them and, tried to be fiery on purpose. Like it felt forced. It wasn't great, but let's see what they actually do on the field.
All right, your reaction to this, and we'll get into some of the stuff on the field from day one, too. We can come back. Robby and Rexrode 102.5, 106.3 The Game. 1025 The Game and Souls for Souls have teamed up for a back-to-school fundraiser, Souls for the 615, to provide new shoes for kids experiencing homelessness in Nashville. Help a child in Middle Tennessee step into the new school year with confidence by donating $20 for a new pair of athletic shoes. For more information and to donate, visit thegamenashville.com/shoes. Souls for the 615 is sponsored by Macero and 12 South. Go check them out for handcrafted cocktails, bold plates, great happy hour, and elevated hospitality. Welcome back in. Robby and Rex Show. We're talking about the fiery speeches of Brian Callahan, the fiery backward-hatted speeches of Brian Callahan. On the YouTube chat, someone pointed out, as we talked about, the fact that he was very fiery, like you said. Jake, the fumble against the Jets. Lop says, yeah, the inflection seemed like Chat GPT highlighted those words. Just sounded artificial. Jared says, I honestly think, not our Jared, different Jared, says, I honestly think it was genuine. He's just excited to be back. It was very similar to his post-game speech after their first win last year. Yeah. Okay, I'll take your word for it. I don't remember. Yeah, I remember
the Dolphins game. I don't really remember that. I remember they posted it, but I don't really remember anything about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I
remember he kind of cried in the presser.
Yeah,
I think
that's right. That's right. Which
I don't remember the speech though.
I thought that was genuine. I thought that all the stuff he said about Levis last year was genuine. I think in general he's genuine. I think that this one was a little bit of like, I'm gonna make my voice go like this, but whatever. I mean, when it comes down to it, and you know what, did he? And I don't know the exact timing of that meeting. I mean, they posted it yesterday, but
I'm sure it was probably Tuesday when they reported. Because they said 47 days, so that would have been Tuesday.
Okay, so potentially that happened before the Berserker presser.
It's a good point.
Or maybe
they got all fired up and then dropped down after.
Or he was trying. He was going overboard because he heard that. Like, oh God, they just told these guys they suck.
That is it.
What am I gonna do?
It's possible.
I don't know. But regardless, again, anything he does until he proves that he can win football games on any sort of regular basis in the NFL is going to be nitpicked, and probably the negative, tack will be taken by a lot of Titans fans. So, meanwhile, there was actually practice yesterday. Connor Newt, we talked to him too. Or I talked to him yesterday. Io Manor is the name that came up from him. Heard a lot of that yesterday. Io Manor making some plays and looking like a guy. Also, we're reading Jimmy Wyatt's report. Tyjae Spears. I mean, there's a lot of talk about Tyjae Spears, potentially having a bigger role, being more explosive this year. Obviously he lacks an ACL in one leg, but Tyjae Spears being more of a factor is an interesting thought too. I don't know how much that moves the needle for this offense altogether, but take a little bit off Tony Pollard's play. When last year he just really sort of receded into the background.
Yeah, Io Manor's an interesting one because I think if he truly can be the wide receiver 2 on this team, that changes a lot. It makes the weapons feel a whole lot deeper because I think what you're going to get from Tyler Lockett. He's not going to be Tyler Lockett of 2018, 2019, but I think you're going to get probably 400 to 500 yards out of Tyler Lockett this year as long as he stays healthy. But if Io Manor can be a true wide receiver 2 behind Calvin Ridley, that makes you feel pretty good about who Cam Ward's throwing the football to. You'd think one of the tight ends, I saw people were saying Chig looked pretty good yesterday. At least I saw that on Twitter. I don't know how much I believe.
It's like someone like Chig is like, I mean, we know he's not going to dramatically change who he is as a player, right? I mean, maybe I'm wrong. You can improve, but like when someone says Chig looks good he's looked good on the practice field before. He's fine.
I don't think Chig's going to turn into a top 15 tight end.
Yeah.
I am surprised.
Maybe he does, but I don't. Yeah.
Looking that good after all the vacations he took this year. It is good to see.
He must have found a gym at the Marriott.
But Tyjae Spears is an interesting one too, because I think after last year, everybody kind of expects Tony Pollard to get the lion's share of touches at running back. But in terms of explosiveness, Spears is definitely going to bring a little bit more of that. and Pollard's another year of tread on those tires is gone. Spears wasn't nearly as involved as I think a lot of people hoped he would be last year. So maybe if Spears takes the next step, that's another big weapon for Cam Ward out of the backfield, and you can split those carries a little bit more evenly between Pollard and Spears.
Yeah, look, anybody who can do anything, if Chig's a little better, that's great. I know, I guess apparently the rookie Gunnar Helm had a drop. I mean, we're nitpicking drops. I mean, the quarterbacks in like the 7-on-7, it was like, all their numbers were great, mostly completions. Apparently Gunnar Helm had a drop. It's not the end of the world. You don't want to keep hearing that over and over again. But yeah, I mean, Spears and anybody who can do anything more for this offense, which obviously, excuse me, has limitations, that'd be a good thing. Ed says PK's 30th anniversary covering the team, his 30th training camp. No one brings a man a cake. I mean, he didn't say that the other day. 30th training camp. My God, he's old. Good for him. Well, he'll be in tomorrow, so maybe we can rustle up. I could probably steal someone's food out of the fridge in the break room.
There you go.
Make a little makeshift cupcake for him or something like that. Other things yesterday. I mean, that's the thing. You're not getting into pads yet. We are going to talk next hour. We're going to talk about the edge situation, which, there's some, I'd say a couple of promising developments there, but I mean, that's the thing. The first day of practice, it's like the energy is a big talk. It's also like it's really uneventful. It's always uneventful compared to some of the practices you get into.
Right.
Soon.
In a couple of weeks, days, weeks, I think you're going to be able to learn more about this team. Yesterday, I don't know if there's too much you can actually take and project it towards the season. Saturday's the one at the stadium. I mean, that one's usually not super in-depth either, but
well, I mean, hopefully, obviously Vrabel had the famous, let's just work on punts all day while the fans showed up. Good job, Mike.
Yeah, I don't think Callahan will be doing that. I mean, I'm sure they'll show off Cam Ward a little bit.
Yeah, if we're going to compare these coaches, I mean, as long as Brian Callahan never does that, he does have that on Vrabel, right? He actually has a practice that people would want to see, like people throwing and catching footballs and things like that, lining up in like offensive formation and running plays. I mean, that is an edge he has on Vrabel. So
that is true.
Just saying.
That is true. 9926 on the text line says Spears isn't explosive, only 2 rushes of 12 or more yards last year. In terms of talent, I think he would be explosive. Last year he wasn't, but the hope is he will be. And we got another Jared with a very hot take. Jared from Spring Hill on the text line says, my plan would have been better at this point. Hire Dion, draft Travis Hunter, then draft Shador later on. I bet Shador wouldn't describe the practice as mid. Ward basically threw everybody under the bus. Not a fan of Ward. Wow. One practice, that's all it takes.
Did he throw everybody under the bus?
Got to hold people accountable, right?
Right. Isn't that I mean,
okay, so do we have that again?
Sure.
I didn't.
Yeah, I don't think he threw anybody under the bus.
Scoreboard out there when no wins or losses. How do you measure progress here during training camp?
Everything is always measured off a win or loss. Practice is 80 plays a day. That's a whole game. We were mid in practice today offensively, but it's first day. You get better every day. We just gotta try and just repeat. And not stay the same. Just try to get better.
I mean, that's there's nobody being thrown under the bus there whatsoever. He said we.
Offensively.
Yeah, offensively, we were mid. I mean, that starts with him. I think he gets that. So I don't. Hey, look. First of all, I don't hate your whole. Saying we'd be having a lot more fun right now. Boy, would it be interesting as hell around here. But yeah, anybody who right now, man, I think you're really reaching to try to nitpick like whatever. Let's watch him play. He's not going to immediately be the leader of the team, but I think he's got a good approach.
I said this last week before training camp that anybody who wanted Cam Ward is going to show off his victories and brush off anything that's bad. And anybody who didn't want Ward and wanted them to trade the pick, or in this case, take Colorado's program and move it to Nashville, they're going to, every time that Ward does something they don't like, they're going to say, oh, they should have traded the pick. It's going to keep happening all through training camp.
Yeah, I agree. I agree in general. I think that there are still a lot of people who probably around draft time were like, no, and now they're like, okay, we got him. So let's talk. You know what I mean?
talk
I think there's
themselves
still a
into
fair
it.
amount of fans who go that route. But yes, it won't be like Levis. I mean, with Levis, especially like some Vols fans who hated his guts and said he sucked. And look, they ended up. I mean, he ended up not being good enough. So, but like there was just always that underlying thing with him. But yeah, some people, you're right, are just going to nitpick. When we come back, best and worst in sports, Robby and Rexrode 1025, 1063 the game.
The best and worst of the sports week. Now on Robby and Rexrode.
On ESPN.
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is the worst.
You look like you're feeling sorry for yourself. Believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
He's one of one. He is him.
This is a Coke bottle. It's not a crystal ball.
When I woke up this morning, I was feeling pretty dangerous.
Okay, let's go.
It is that time of week again. Best and worst in sports. I mean, I probably should be hospitable with Jake in for Robby and let him go first, but I like to go first. Robby lets me go
Take it
first,
away.
and then I just steal like the obvious ones. And I am going to go obvious, and I'm going to do one I love, which is always like, you know, the duality of sports, the best and the worst in one thing. The best is that we have NFL training camp this week. Very exciting. We got news going all over the place, practices, press conferences, apparel, criticisms. You know, it's all out there. The worst is that like it takes about 5 minutes to be bored immediately again and be like, oh God, okay, how about preseason games? And then you get to those and you're like, oh God, that's worth about
No one's
20
playing
minutes,
anymore. Yeah.
20 minutes of watching. My God, what is it? 47 days? Did you say 47 days? Does that mean we're at 45 days now?
We are at 45
days?
now.
Okay, 45 days. But still, I'm going to go, if you have to take the best and the worst right there, there is a whiff of football. There is football news being made. So overall, it's a positive. There you go.
That is true. It is. We look forward to having training camp to talk about. And then it's just like, all right, well, they practiced for an hour and a half and really did nothing out there. But it is good. Football is getting closer. My best, I got to give Scotty Scheffler credit. I know we did it on Monday, but that was a dominant performance at the Open. He is, for the last 2 full seasons, he has been pretty much unstoppable. I mean, you look, I believe he's won the Players, the Olympic gold medal, the Masters, the Open, and did he win the Tour Championship last year or something like that too? Like
He's missing one. Yeah.
He has been unstoppable, and that was probably the most dominant of his major wins so far, at least that I can remember. So give credit to Scotty Scheffler. My worst is from ACC kickoff. Thomas Castellanos, the former Boston College quarterback, now at Florida State. Earlier this offseason, he basically predicted that Florida State would beat Alabama in week 1. And this week, he doubled down. He doubled down again. Thomas Castellanos has basically said, Alabama, look out. Florida State, they may have gone 2-10 last year, but they're coming for the Crimson Tide. So that I don't think that's going to happen. I think Alabama will win that game pretty easily down in Tallahassee later this year.
I mean, I could make a case for that as a best. It's like, good for you, man.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think he's going to be right, but
well, I mean,
hey, good for him.
He was supposed to be pretty good last year at BC, and I believe he quit on the team about 3/4 of the way through the year.
Well, Bill O'Brien benched him, and then he bailed. He was, I mean, he showed some talent. He had some good performances.
He's got some talent, but I don't know if before your first game when FSU just went 2-10 that you should be calling out the Crimson Tide.
Yeah, you're next, Alabama. That sounds like a Vanderbilt player from about 8 years ago. Ian Safari, your best and worst.
Yeah, I also put Scheffler down just to represent Robby. I figured he would probably
Lots of golf for you, Robby. I hope you're listening.
Yeah,
listen to all the golf.
He would have brought that up, so I just wanted to make sure. Thank you, Jake, for bringing that up. And I'll throw Nashville SC back in there, getting another dub, second now in the Eastern Conference. So another match, San Diego on Friday night after the All-Star festivities last night. I did not watch, but yeah, so cool there. Worst, I got a couple here. Levis injury. Don't like that. Shoulder injury. Not like we were expecting much of an impact from Levis or anything, but the whole situation did not sound.
Are you saying he has the heart of a loser?
I won't go that far. Yeah. But yeah, also a funny worst. How about this Rhett Lashley, SMU? You seen these comments?
Yes. That's where when you said ACC, that
You know what?
that's what I thought.
That
Jake
probably would have been better.
That's
him
what I
and
thought Jake was
Feinbaum
going.
going at it, saying the ACC depth is just as good as the SEC depth, something like that.
Oh, it's
Pretty
yeah.
good.
I mean,
it's amazing.
I think we'll find out August 31st in Atlanta that Rhett Lashley is wrong when South Carolina beats the brakes off my Hokies at Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Your boy Paul was not too Feinbaum, that is, not too happy with the whole situation, Joe.
Yeah, well, Paul, hey, you don't mess with the SEC, you're gonna get Paul upset. But yeah, some of the stuff that and the talking season, these coaches, they all overinflate, right? Like we know they all overinflate.
It's all about selling your
their
team,
own
your
league.
conference.
But I'm trying to find. Do you have those? What he said is actually hilarious.
Not exactly, but something I would call SEC top heavy, something like that.
Like the facts that he used. Someone torched him, and I will find it before the end of the show because someone wrote a column about this and absolutely skewered him, which I read. I think it might have been Zach Barnett. I'll figure it out, but.
Something like the SEC has had the same 6 schools win the championship since 1964. Not a single one has been different. That's top heavy to me. That's not depth.
Yeah. That's yes, that is among the things he said. That was like, dude, are you serious? Do you think anyone will actually believe you? It was actually Casa Grande, who we like to call Big House, from AL.com. Let's see, the dumbest thing they said. It was basically a column about how Lashley he made some clown jokes in here. But yeah, I mean, like let's talk about the facts. Yeah, there's not a lot of easy wins in the schedule, blah blah blah. Coaches all say that about their conference, right? But meanwhile my computer is gone. Dead. We will figure it out at some point. I can't get in the text line. Now my computer is just
I was
giving
told
me...
from Adam Vingan this week that you two were supposed to meet up and work on the whole brand new MacBook computer you have and have never used before.
Well, I've used it. I mean, I have to like turn it on from time to time, and so I have it kind of set up.
He was going to meet with you.
Well, we met.
Okay.
We met.
Tutorial, everything.
And my password was wrong, and so we just sat there and drank coffee. So yes, yeah. I'm trying to make the train. I mean, this is my middle child's junior high or middle school computer that I had to commandeer from him after my laptop was stolen in Knoxville when someone broke into my car in Knoxville and took all my stuff when I was at dinner. So yeah, this is old and dying. And right now, Google Chrome not responding. I'd like to read this column about Rhett Lashley. Or be on the text line or anything like that. And I mean, I guess, people used to do radio shows without having a bunch of crap in front of them, right?
Yes, they did.
That's true.
Rely on your own wits.
Yeah, we didn't have smartphones,
computers.
Back in the day, we were just fine.
Just sit there reading the newspaper, right? Reading the newspaper. And so when we come back from that bleep show, we're going to get back in the Titans and a little bit of positivity, I would say, potentially, at one of the most troubling and problematic positions for the Titans. We're trying to find some sunshine for you, Titans fans. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Second hour, Thursday edition, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game. We are broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. I'm Joe Rexrode, Jake Lyman in for Robby, Ian Safar producing, and I think we need to give away tickets. Let's give away tickets. Let's give away tickets, Ian.
Let's do it.
Ghost, Bridgestone Arena, Saturday, 2 days from now. Caller 5. Caller 5.
Okay.
No idea why, but let's go caller 5. And let's get back into the Tennessee Titans. So a couple things. One, they did make a move, and they need to do anything they can do at edge. They have a real problem at edge, as we've talked about many times. They have signed Jihad Ward, who had all of 1 sack last year.
One more than Lorenzo Carter, though.
That is right. That is right. One more than Lorenzo Carter. He has had some pressures. He's had some production in his career. He is not ancient. How old is Jihad Ward?
Jihad at 29.
This
Does that
is
sound right?
information that I should have had available, but my computer is just restarting right now.
He is 31.
Yeah. So you add him, which, I think is of the available options. There are bigger names out there, but I think older guys, and I think, I also think in some cases just guys that you weren't going to get anyway. So there's that. And then also, hearing him talk and just the general kind of storyline around Femi Oladejo, the rookie, the project, the guy who just recently moved from inside to outside. I think that, you don't want to go overboard, because this is what happens in camp. It's someone's flying around making plays, and then in the season they have 3 sacks, So, I definitely want to be careful there. But I will, our friend Nick Suss, who, of course, was on the show yesterday, he's got his observations. Everybody's got observations and this and that. This is an interesting little segment that Nick wrote in the Tennessean. He said rookie of the day was Oladejo. He said, quote, Oladejo took a higher percentage of significant reps to start training camp than he took during the OTAs and mini camp at both 11-on-11 and 7-on-7. His past life as a college inside linebacker came in handy reacting to pass plays where he batted one pass at the line of scrimmage and matched up with receivers and tight ends. And then, coming off Carter's announcement, he also got some looks coming after the quarterback. Well, I think there's definitely something there with this guy. What that means, you need something serious to be there with that guy, like by next year, considering where you took him. But I do think he's one of those. I think he's one of those key players that we're going to look back, and we're going to say, wow, this is why things worked out for this particular front office. I'm not saying him, obviously Cam Ward starts that list, but he is one of those key guys where you use a high pick, and we know how things have gone in the draft for the Titans. And early on, I think there are some encouraging signs. You have to be very careful, but encouraging.
Agreed. You have to be measured. You can't, after one practice, say, oh, this guy's going to have 12 sacks as a rookie and be defensive rookie of the year. I think that's probably too much. Again, this guy just started playing outside linebacker within the last year. So there's a lot of growth that has to happen there, but it is encouraging that as early in his career that he is flashing. I kind of always thought that this year, redshirt's probably not the right word because he is going to play, but I kind of thought that this year was going to be a development year for him where he plays a little bit. Maybe you see the flashes, he gets 3 or 4 sacks, and you hope that he takes a big leap into year 2. But if he's already making plays out there, maybe there is a chance that instead of being kind of a reserve guy where he's not on the field all the time and you bring him in, give him some reps, maybe he is a guy who's going to play 70% of the snaps for you if he is taking the steps that you need him to in year 1.
The guy's gonna, it's not necessarily ideal to be a quote unquote project and then have Arden Key as like the, and again, Arden Key's fine, but like if that's what you want to be, you frankly, It's another reason that, like, if I were the Titans, I'd want Harold Landry around because I think he always in his entire time here set a tone of this is the level of work and all these things. He was a pro, but opportunity, is there. Opportunity is there, like very few teams, maybe no other teams for a young edge like this who has a lot of work to do, but like is just still the best option.
Right. He could easily end up being the best edge rusher on this team. It's a very low bar. I mean, Draymond Jones, you hope, is going to be a solid piece out there. And then Arden Key, we kind of know what he is at this point. He'll have a game or two where he gets 2 sacks and makes an impact on the game. And then he'll have a month where he disappears. So the opportunity is there for Femi Oladejo. I do agree with you. I kind of would have wanted Harold Landry around, like Nick Suss saying that Femi's dropping into coverage too and covering tight. Like Harold Landry used to do that too. He was kind of that kind of player where, yeah, his main thing was he would get you 9 to 12 sacks every year, but he also could drop out and make a play if you needed him to. So
yeah, he was an every down player, which
right.
is very valuable.
I would have liked him around to, mentor a young guy who's kind of just growing into his role. But at least at this point, if Femi is solid, he's going to get all the reps, and that's going to be important for him moving forward.
Yeah, the Titans have embraced the suck. I'm into the text line. Good news. Thank you, Chase. Thank you, Chase, for getting me into the text line. So, and I'm
just in time to see Skylar's
immediately
text.
greeted by Skylar. Arden Key farting sucks. Don't sugarcoat it, Joe. I'm not sugarcoating it. I mean, he's okay.
Arden Key is a capable NFL player, nothing more.
Yeah, like Arden Key. There are other teams besides this team. If Arden Key was your third guy, that's not bad.
Arden Key's
a decent third guy in the NFL.
He would make almost every NFL
guy
roster.
Yeah, sure.
Like,
yeah. No, I think he'd. Yeah,
I probably would make every roster.
I think he'd be on any active roster in the league, but ideally, yeah, he's your third guy situational,
right.
and with the Titans, he's much more than that. And JD says, or maybe the Titans O-line just sucks, which is much more like it. There's a lot of suck going on today. A lot of suck already that I'm reading on the text line. People are not excited or optimistic. But yeah, I understand.
Let's not make any sweeping generalizations on the offensive line until they put the pads on, like good or bad, because we've seen before where we get tweets of like, oh, the offensive line looks good. And it's like, all right, well, they haven't even put the pads on yet. Let's see. And then they get smoked on day one when the pads come on. So either way, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah. Jared on the YouTube chat says, I'd love to see them go get Zadarius Smith. I think this signing I think this is going to be the signing, and I never like Big Z and some of these guys who it seems like every year it's just like, okay, try to see how much I can get here. Maybe a little ring chasing there. I think a lot of these guys would not be interested in coming here anyway, but I think signing Jihad Ward probably takes care of that.
Yeah.
Again, they don't have what you need, but like signing another veteran like that doesn't make sense.
You're not a pass rusher away from being competitive.
And you need like a Jalen Harrell, an Ali Gay, somebody to, that would be a big deal for in camp, one of those guys to show something. Not necessarily going to get it, but I think you have to give some reps to young guys, and young and cheap is, look, you're not, I know some people are like, hey, what about Trey Hendrickson? Yeah, it just like, to me, it just doesn't make sense right now with your timeline. You're going to invest that, you're going to look at a guy like that, given what your timeline is right now. They made it clear, like this year is not any sort of go for it year. So if you can signing someone to like help your young quarterback, that makes sense. So if if another receiver or something like that, but I think this is pretty much what they're going to be, guys.
Yeah, there's going
to be some churn, as they said, about on the roster, but this is basically what they're going to be. Not very good.
It's not 2020 where that team, after going to the AFC Championship, and the one thing you couldn't do was affect the quarterback, so they went out and got Jadeveon Clowney. Like that made sense to go get a pass rusher where you felt like that could be the missing piece for you to make a run. This year, you bring in Zadarius Smith. Does that even add a win to your total? Probably not. Like maybe it makes your defense a little bit better on the outside, but it's not going to really change the outlook of this team, at least notably in any way.
Big Z has seen better days. But we do have Austin saying, I'm staying optimistic. The O-line will be better than most people think. There you go. Little sunshine. And Texter says, unnamed Texter, excited for the season. Whether we only win 3 games or win the division, it's a season that will point us in the direction that we'll be heading towards. That is true. This season will point you in some direction.
Very insightful.
What direction? I don't know. But it is a football season. They will be playing football. You are right. I like that sort of optimism, kind of. Whatever, yeah, que sera on this. When we come back, I got to get into, there's some troubling stuff going on with the Tennessee Vols football team. Key guy up in the air right now. We're going to get into that next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Hey, folks, tune in to ESPN 94.9 The Fan today as the Nashville Sounds take on Charlotte at First Horizon Park. Pregame begins at 6:20 p.m., first pitch 6:35. Coverage also available on the Game Nashville app and at thegamenashville.com. Sounds Baseball on ESPN 94.9 The Fan, presented by Twin Peaks and Family Leisure. Also, the Borchetta Bourbon Music City Grand Prix is coming to the Nashville Super Speedway Labor Day weekend. 102.5 The Game has your chance to win VIP tickets to the IndyCar race. Text in the keyword RACE, R-A-C-E, now, 615-737-1025. That's the text line driven by WilsonCountyHoney.com to be entered to win a pair of VIP tickets. For more information on the event, visit MusicCityGP.com. Welcome back into Robby and Rexrode. Taking a little college football break here because the Boo Carter stuff at Tennessee has been it's been out there a lot on the interwebs, Jake, and I don't know how closely pay attention to the Vols related interwebs, but there's been a lot of talk, a lot of conjecture, some stuff that's not even worth repeating. He's got his mom going on social media and getting after people, but the bottom line is there are questions about Boo Carter and the Vols this year, and that is a big problem for Tennessee if they don't have Boo Carter.
Yeah, I don't keep up a ton with what's going on over there, but I have seen that, he's missing football practices, meetings, all this stuff, and the team's kind of getting fed up with it. I don't know if two instances like this with Nico and now you're having issues with Boo Carter means it's a program problem or a hypo problem, but it is interesting that, two times within the last 3 months, 4 months, you've had some of your better players basically just quit on the team. And we don't know, maybe Boo Carter will be back and figure this out, but it is very interesting that the Vols are having this many problems in this offseason with just a month to go until they get underway against Syracuse.
Yeah, Adam Sparks, friend of the show, wrote a story in the Knoxville News Sentinel, and to quote him, quote, Knox News has learned that Carter missed numerous team activities and he was confronted by team leaders because of his absence, end quote. UT declined comment. The first time. So media day for the Vols is coming up. I guess that would be Tuesday. Media day is Tuesday. Practice begins Wednesday. So, at that point, obviously, there may be a resolution and maybe it'll be like, okay, everything's fine and he's back and his Sparks also reached out to his representatives. They did not respond. So they're not talking right now. But it's just, it's an interesting thing you bring up there. I mean, the Nico thing, I think Josh Heupel got a lot of grace, and frankly, I think he deserves it because
I agree.
Because look, and I've talked to people who were on the Tennessee staff when they recruited Nico, who were concerned at that point about his dad, and at that point saying great talent and all that, but this is the quarterback dad thing is a real thing. And the quarterback dad thing can be a real problem. And I mean, again, some coaches, I've talked to coaches who have said like, that is like when we go through the list of these guys and comparing them, we absolutely dad's on there. Is the dad like just out of control? So I think Heupel gets grace on that. I think it's really rough for Tennessee fans to think about, and this is somewhat a sign of the times of college football, but to think about Nico leaving. Now, possibly, you're arguably your most talented defensive player who also could be a really key part of the offense. I don't know if I buy that he's a key part, but a guy that is so talented. He's a punt returner and a guy that they want to get the ball in his hands, and he's an electric athlete. It's one of those guys that when you play these top teams, he's one of those guys who equalizes a talent level for you when you play these top teams. So to think about him possibly bailing after, Ricky Gibson and Mike Matthews almost, they were, again, this happens. This is a sign of the times. As Sparks points out, then you also had all the stuff with James Pierce and, what was going on with him last year. And it obviously got into the draft process. And so, look, I don't think it's unfair to say, is there a program issue? I don't know that I buy that there is, but I don't think it's an unfair question to bring up.
Yeah, I think a couple of times could be a coincidence, but you're right. We have seen there's been multiple times, and I again, you make the good point that it is a sign of the times. It's not like this isn't happening other places. You have to recruit your own roster basically every single year.
Exactly.
And sometimes there's going to be guys that get unhappy and they leave, but the timing of all of it is just strange. Like, it's so rare to lose your quarterback in spring practice. And I know there were his dad and, you don't expect your quarterback to renegotiate his NIL deal in spring practice, but there's been multiple times the last couple of years where you've had these issues pop up. If they lose Boo Carter too, not that I think Tennessee is a national championship contender this year, but you wonder if they slip even further towards it from maybe a middle of the pack SEC team to back down towards 10, 11, 12, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, look, I look, he's a defensive back, but I mean, he could potentially touch all three aspects of the football team this year. I mean, I think that could be worth a loss, another loss on the schedule if you lose him. So, Jacob on the text line says coach/program issue possibly. It's also a dramatic recruiting issue, recruiting the wrong type of guy. I've seen some of this on Vol Twitter and sort of like making the comparison between like Nico and Boo Carter. Again, when you say the wrong type of guy, I mean, look, again, there's stuff out here about Boo Carter. I'm not even going to entertain it because there's just none of it's like terrible, but I'm not even going to entertain it, But when you say wrong type of guy, I mean, what told you that he was the quote wrong type of guy? Again, if we're talking about, getting paid, these teams are all trying to poach each other's players. And so, like, again, when guys like Matthew, guys go in the portal, it's just, I mean, they have agents, and it's like, like if you're going to have yearly free agency, that's going to happen. And also, like, again, Nico, I don't think is the wrong type of guy. I think they overplayed their hand. I think his dad is a boob, frankly. And I think his dad screwed him up. I mean, I think that's the problem. With the Boo Carter thing, again, I don't know, obviously, all the details here, but I don't know that I'm on board with the whole recruit. Like, you're trying to recruit some of the most talented football players in the country. Boo Carter is one of those guys, and there were no massive red flags that I know of when he was a recruit.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. You recruit the best players, and obviously you want good character guys in that room, but every single program has guys who get into trouble or they ask for more money. I mean, not to bring it like Georgia. Georgia has problems like this all the time, and it isn't made into as big of a deal. Like, I think Tennessee, it's been a bad offseason for the Vols, but I think to say, a wide sweeping generalization that they're recruiting the wrong type of guys is probably a little premature. And
to your point, Georgia football commit Chase Calicut has just been charged in a Texas drive-by shooting. He's a co-defendant. So, and they've obviously had a lot of things. Look, I mean, the Georgia stuff. I mean, Caleb's like, would you rather have, this issue or Georgia? I mean, you want these problems with Georgia's, LOL. I'm like, well, again, you have 100 people on your roster. You are going to have situations. The Georgia thing, especially the whole Georgia like driving thing, is bizarre.
It's so strange.
But I mean, you're also like you have to allow for some of this. Texas says Boo attended 4 high schools in 4 years, not a surprise. Yeah, that happens too. But again, are you saying that Josh Heupel and that staff should not have recruited him? I mean, even as a freshman, he made a difference. I'm trending toward talent, and yeah, of course, the off the field things matter. But what is this situation right now? Is it? I don't know exactly what it is. So I think people are jumping to conclusions. But by the way, we've just left Adam in Portland on hold forever, so we need to get Adam in here. Adam, what's up?
Well, you were complaining about Landry, and you were like, oh, Landry. Dude, I don't hate Landry, man. But at the same time, I wasn't sad to see Landry go. Like, I think that's the problem I have, Joe, with the Titans right now, is that it's like, I guess apathy. Maybe we're even past apathy, where I'm like, we could have cut 45 players, and I would have been totally cool with it. I'm paying a lot of money, right, for the tickets. You pay a lot of money to move in the new stadium. Dude, like, I feel like my investment is not very good right now, but also I'm trying to look at it long term. And you were the worst team in the league. Jacksonville swept you. Like, that's where I'm stuck at right now, dude. Is like, I get it. Landry would give you the occasional 8-10 sacks, something like that, but he wasn't somebody that I'm not going to go buy his jersey. Like, he's not somebody who, I got sad when they cut him. So I don't know. I'm in a weird spot with the Titans right now, dude. Our relationship is rocky. I wish it was better, but at the same time, like, I'm not giving up hope, but it's just weird right now.
Thank you, Adam. Yeah, I agree. Like Landry is, like it's absolutely given the number for him. Like I get it. I'm just saying like you look at a particular situation like Oladejo, he would have been a good guy to have here.
Right.
Know?
It would have been
That's
nice
not,
to have
you
him.
don't make your entire decision on somebody like that, making the money he makes based on that. But I'm just saying there is a bit of a void here.
Well, and you have
guys, and maybe Jihad Ward is a guy, even though he's not a star or anything like that, maybe he brings some of that.
Yeah, and you obviously didn't know you were going to draft Femi Oladejo when you made the decision on Harold Landry, so you couldn't have done that, but it would have been nice to have him in the room.
We got some more reaction on Vols and that whole situation and Georgia and all those things. We will get to some of that later. I need a segment to continue to attack the Big Ten, so I'm going to bring in a scribe for the Big Ten next, and we're going to get into just how ridiculous Tony Petitti is and what the proper playoff format should be. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Welcome back in. Robby and Rex, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Jay Kleiman in for Robby. Ian Safar producing. Very excited to bring in our next guest. It's actually kind of bad that I've never had my buddy Graham Couch on the show before. Graham Couch, Lansing State Journal sports columnist, one of the best columnists in the country, I would say, although some of his takes are very scorching hot. I think actually the first time I ever heard the term hot take might have been someone on the Michigan State beat talking about Graham. But it's really a big oversight that we haven't had him on. And Graham, with today, first of all, how the heck are you?
I'm great now. I mean, it's been something that's hurt me over the years, not being on the show. I've thought about a lot.
You desperately wanted to be on in Nashville.
This is the beginning of healing today. Yeah.
All right. Well, good, because we're gonna figure out the college football playoff. But first of all, I mean, Tony Petitti, man. I mean, like, I don't want to overreact, okay? But like, the guy is like a TV exec and the MLB Network. Like, why the hell is he the Big Ten commissioner? Let's start there. Why the hell is he the Big Ten commissioner?
It's a great point. I'm all about out of the box hires, and I don't think you have to come up the way through an athletic director's office to be a commissioner or anything like that, or through an NFL team. But I think it's almost like they got too cute with this one. They thought the symbiotic nature of that relationship with television and how important that was going to be everything. The problem is there's a lot more to the job. And the other thing is, a lot of it's decisions and ideas and as you've pointed out here, I mean, this is a one really bad idea. And the problem I have with some of his ideas and this one is when you have bad ideas, it's a red flag for other bad ideas. There are certain things that just sort of, mean your opinions on things are concerning.
Yeah, well, and of course, the bad idea, people who are listening have probably heard me rail about it. I mean, I've railed many times about this 4-4-2-2-1 format, which just offends me in like at every turn. But I'm also, I understand that you're going to put up a united front to some extent, but honestly, Graham, here at Big Ten Media Days, which apparently like nobody is out covering. I saw James Franklin's like, I wish we had any reporters here, but like all the coaches are signing up for this, speaking out in support of this. Ryan Day is talking about, maybe they don't schedule tough games if they don't get their way, which is absolutely idiotic because that's when you do schedule tough games. If it's not this system, I mean, I don't mean to be like the SEC guy just completely trashing the Big Ten, Graham, but like, what is happening here?
Yeah, it's frustrating for me because I'm usually a Big Ten guy who trashes the SEC.
Exactly. And usually you've got great stuff.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that, but yeah, so it's hard for me to, I have to sort of bash myself and my own brethren here. But what's problematic is, like, the whole point of college football in a lot of ways is great rivalries, great matchups, great Saturday afternoons, right? That's what the sport is. It's the experience of Saturday afternoons. And when teams don't want to play, when they aren't encouraged to play, when they don't think it's important to play, it's one thing to dodge good games and play a weak schedule. It's another thing to sort of brag about it as this being the system. Because you're not creating the best experience for your own fans, and I think at the core of any system that's created for a college football playoff ought to be something that encourages good matchups, interesting matchups, games you wouldn't get to see otherwise. I mean, I think I cover Michigan State, and you were still around for covering MSU when they played Oregon in 2015, before Oregon was actually in the Big Ten. In Spartan Stadium for one of the better Saturday nights you'll ever be around in college football. Yeah, I mean, you don't want teams to look away for those matchups. They won that game, and that actually helped them get in the playoff when they had a dumb loss later in the year. And so like that stuff can help you, but it also, you don't want to ever get to the point that you're not encouraging that. I mean, I don't hate the idea of auto bids as much as some people do, but what you pointed out in your column, and I think the most important thing, is this has to be about competition, so it has to be about fairness. And if you're going to have a legitimate champion, you can't have 4 teams automatically from 2 leagues and 2 teams automatically from other power leagues. In certain years, could actually be better than the other leagues. I mean, that just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. If you wanted to get to a place where you were 3 auto bids from every power league or 4 from every, well, how many? Do whatever you want, but it has to be uniformed in terms of auto bids.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, that's, and this is where I think it seems to me, Graham, that Petiti, like he really like the part about this that excites him the most is what it seems to me is like this playing game weekend. And again, that's where I get into the MLB network guy who comes into college sports and he's sitting there talking about, well, another professional sports, blah, blah, blah. I don't care, man. This is not that. This is college football. You cannot make those comparisons. And I've heard some people push back and say, why wouldn't it be fun? You would have more teams late who would be alive. And then you have these win and in games, and that particular Saturday would be exciting. I think it would be horrifically gimmicky, and I would hate it. But I don't know. Like, do you see any redeeming value in that?
I do see the idea of having auto bids within a league. I mean, it's very English football, European football like, right? Or if you knew,
which you love,
which I love, right? And so and over there to get into European places for like the Champions League and Europa League, you have that, and it creates beyond winning the league, it creates a second bit of drama, right? That's great late in the year, and at the bottom you have relegation, and like in the Big Ten, for example, in basketball now, because there are 37 million teams in the league, you can't have everybody go to the Big Ten basketball tournament, so the bottom 3 teams don't get in, and that did create, especially because the bottom of the league wasn't actually horrible last year. It did create drama where teams that were like, 7-10 going into the final game were still playing for something. And so I like that. And I don't hate the idea that there is something, that you're the 6th place team, but you still got a chance to get to 4 and get in, and you're playing for something late. The extra game though, the idea of playing games, it's just harder to do in football than I think he realizes. It kind of speaks to a lack of experience with the sport, in terms of, being around it and truly understanding what people need. You certainly have to, but the biggest thing to me is just, it's the arrogance and the idea. I mean, it really bothers me, the idea that you assume that you're better than the ACC or Big 12.
Oh,
and
totally.
then the other issue with that is in a year where you're not, and somebody there who's really deserving gets left out, then you don't really have a national champion. That's the thing. I would just phrase it like that to those people, because like I think one of the great things about the 12-team playoff, which I think 12 is fine, but if you're going to go to 14, 16, whatever, is that you do have, whatever you think of who gets left out of the back end, the team that emerges from that is legitimately going to be a champion. But if you're gonna predetermine the field, that's just not how this works.
You're going to have a year where it's a disaster because you did that, and then everyone. That's right. That's guaranteed.
The NFC North was great last year at the top, right? Vikings, Lions, Packers, all that stuff. You can't predetermine in the NFL playoffs. Well, look at the NFC North. Okay, they should automatically get 2 in for sure. Like that. That's just not how we do things in sports. And it's a real. I mean, it's really brazen to sit up there and sort of insist that that's how it should be. And I especially with the number of bad. I mean, look, the number of bad Big Ten West teams over the years that have played for Big Ten championships, and I understand the divisions are gone now, but like there are a lot of years the Big Ten has not been any stronger than the Big 12, and so the idea that it would assure that it always or think that it always would be, or think that it deserves more than those leagues is ridiculous.
Talking with Graham Couch here on Robby and Rexrode. Graham, I thought it was funny with Kurt Signetti this week. saying basically that because other teams don't schedule hard, that he is going to cancel the series with noted college football powerhouse Virginia. Do you think in order to get a compromise on this 16 team playoff that the SEC may have to go to 9 conference games, because it just feels like the Big Ten is going to laud that over their heads at this point, that they play 9, the SEC plays 8, and the SEC just schedules too many cupcakes?
Yeah, I don't know if they have to, but they should. I mean, it's not quite as brazen as what Petitti's doing, but the idea that the SEC is always stronger than other leagues, so it only needs to therefore play 8, is also ridiculous too, because it's not. I mean, the SEC has benefited for years from like the high preseason rankings. You get 2 SEC teams. You get like Texas A&M playing South Carolina in week 1. They're both pretty highly ranked. 1 wins. Turns out they both stink, but nobody knows that for 8 weeks because they're ranked number 4 and number 6. And so there's this perception that's created. The SEC has benefited for that for years. Now, the SEC overall over the last several decades has been the best conference. I'm not disputing that. But it also speaks to the idea that you're always best, so you only need to play 8, right? What I think needs to happen is you create some sort of uniform standards, because I hate Indiana's schedule. I mean, if I was on the committee and I would be in that room arguing anybody who played 8 home games, and quite a few have recently. I think Michigan did the year they won a national title. Ohio State did the other year. Indiana did last year. Would not get in the playoff. I mean, you think about 8 home games. I mean, 7-5, we get the financial structure of the sport. People accept it. It's good. But if in the NFL, some teams played 11 home games and others played 6, like nobody would stand for that, right? The idea of 8 home games is nuts. You should have to play 5 true road games. And if you did something like where you can play as many conference games as you want, but everybody in the Power 4 that's going to get an auto bid or is playoff eligible or it's really frowned upon if needs to play 10 other Power 4 or 10 Power 4 teams on their schedule. You can do it however you want. Then the conference thing wouldn't matter. So then if you're going to play 8, then you got to play 2 in the non-conference. If you're going to play 9, you're going to play one of your 3 that's some sort, and that would also incentivize cool matchups. And I just think the thing that I'd really like to see is, however we get there, teams rewarded for good scheduling, intent in scheduling, and teams punished for not. I think intent in scheduling matters. I think what Indiana is doing is a crock. I think if you plan to, if you put Notre Dame on your schedule and it happens to be a year they're 4 and 8, you should be punished less for that than if you didn't even try to put that game on schedule.
No, totally agree, and I'm glad you were able to get in a little rip on the SEC. All right, last thing, real fast, Graham. So, and you're not wrong. I agree. I love the idea. Like, let's have 10 games against power teams, and everybody do that. However that looks, let's do 10. And I agree that absolutely the committee needs to look at intent, and that needs to matter. And you mentioned Michigan State in 2015. I think that helped them. They had Oregon, and even though they lost that Nebraska game. All right, real fast. So wait, did you tell me you had a 20 game? You got a 20 game you want to do? Is that, or not 20 game, 20 team playoff?
Well, I don't want to do a 20 team playoff, but to me, if you were going to do 4 automatic bids, you'd have to get to 20. Like, to me, because the other,
I get what you're saying. Okay, yeah.
You can't leave out the little guy.
Yeah.
That would drive me down. I mean, you got to give an opportunity for everybody. You got to have a way to get yourself in. If you're Boise, if you're whoever, that dream has to be alive, and it's good. One of the things the big guys don't understand, I think, and this is in college basketball too right now, is if you kill the dream for the little guy. In basketball, I think this is more important, where you've got almost 300 schools who aren't the big guy. If you kill the dream for those fan bases and they disengage over time, those eyeballs on all the games, those TV contracts that the SEC and Big Ten enjoy right now, eventually they'll go down. It'll take, maybe a generation. College football is really popular. College basketball is popular enough, but like you cannot turn off your fan base, and you have to, part of the reason that fans of Miami, Ohio tune in is not just because they love a sport, but it's because there is this dream that things could go perfectly one year and they could be part of this. And so I'm a big believer in that. But yeah, no, I think the only reason I would say 20 is 20 seems a bit much. But if you want 4 auto bids, then that's okay. But the ACC has to have four auto bids. The Big 12 has to have 4 auto bids. And you've got 16 auto bids, and then you got to have a 20-team playoff. But if you want to do that, then do it. Just everybody's got to have the same amount at the Power 4 level.
Yeah, that makes sense. Graham, thanks so much, buddy. It was great talking to you. I'll catch up with you when I'm moving in boys to college in a few weeks. But we'll have you on again to keep fixing college sports.
Look forward to it. Thanks for having me.
Graham Couch, Lansing State Journal, and when we come back, time for the Rex Rant. 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Sometimes he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. And sometimes he's just, well, Joe.
Awkward moment. Let's do it.
This is the Rex Rant. Now on Robby and Rexrode.
I'm going to make my boys go like this.
I'll get 2 venti. I go, Starbucks. I get 2 venti
And you got your hat on backwards?
You can act like a man. Yeah, man. I tell you what, man. You do that. I love you guys so much, man.
with 2 shots in them. So black eye in both. That's what I come in with. That's how I start the day. So
heartburn is like gout. It's mental.
Coach Harbaugh came out of the bathroom and I said, Coach, I would be honored to pour some liquid soap into your hand.
If my zipper's up, I feel like I'm in style.
Do you think Nick Saban would ever wear a backwards cap and give a rah-rah speech to the team?
Oh, what a collage of
well done.
Of beautiful comment. What was the zipper one? There's always one that I need to ask Ian. Like, what was that one?
That was Harbaugh, right?
That was Harbaugh.
Jim?
Yeah. Whichever
or
one.
John?
I don't know. The Michigan guy, Jim.
Yeah,
I was
Jim
getting
Harbaugh.
confused. Yeah, Jim.
Okay. And what was he saying? He's saying the zipper. What about a zipper?
Something
He
about
said,
a
if my
zipper.
zipper's up, I feel like I'm in style or
Okay.
something like
All
that.
right, Mr. Khaki. Mr. Khaki. All righty. I'm glad that you threw that, little Jared little stuff in there on the hat. By the way, I just sent a text. Well, you got this text, Ian.
Yes, I did.
We have new pictures. Like, so if you check out like our X account, like it's the new pictures we took, the hosts of the shows at 102.5, 106.3 The Game. And so I took a glance and then I'm like, is Jared mean mugging? And then I closed in on the picture of Jared. And first of all, just look at this, Jake.
It's, stoic from Jared Stillman.
No, I'm showing this to the camera. This is the same thing as the JJ Watt photo. Like, you're like a 9-year-old who's mad that like you didn't get combos in your lunch pail or something, and so you're like mean mug. Grow up.
I love the
Grow up.
The contrast of Derek Mason's smiling face next to him.
Yeah, Derek's an adult who, okay, we're gonna take pictures now. Let's smile, and you were taking promotional pictures. Jared, let me look like this for you. Oh my God, Jared. I mean, just what you just create too much fodder. But this is not what I'm ranting about. And by the way, a lot of reaction to both the Vols, to some of the playoff talk. So we will get to that, but I want to talk about the Tennessee Titans real quick today, because this thing is, you can't just let this go. This is so bizarre. First of all, of course, I have to actually find it. So the Titans put out new media rules this week. And this is one of those things, like when I read it, I'm like, is this one of those things that's like in fine print everywhere, but you just don't even, but no, I don't think so. I mean, this is new for them. So there's a little bit of inside baseball, but anybody who like is in media would see this and it's like, are you kidding me? So this is, quote, don't contact team personnel. Okay, now I don't have it. I have totally botched this because I paraphrase it. Okay, I'm gonna find the exact. This is just perfect for me to totally botch this. Here we go. Quote: all interview requests for Titans executives, coaches, and players should go through the communications department. Members of the Titans organization, including players, should not be contacted directly by media. End quote. That is one of the most laughable things I've ever heard in my life. You cannot possibly cover any sort of team in American sports and go through the PR people or just go to the press conferences and have any chance of like doing anything. Like you, and the idea, I really hope that these guys, I really hope this is just some, let's put it in as a formality. We'll throw it in. And this is just something we have to say. And I hope it's not Borgonzi, Brinker, any of these guys actually wanting this out there because they don't want reporters to text them. I mean, if you can't handle as a GM, as a coach, certainly, and players, that's some like to do it, some don't. Some will, for sure. If you can't deal with that, you can't handle that, you don't like that, get the hell out of the NFL. Get the hell out of the NFL. It's a joke. It's a joke. You cannot cover a team without texting and having direct conversations with the people who run the team. It's impossible. And I promise you, Mike Borgonzi, when Adam Schefter texts him or whoever texts him, I promise you he responds. So this is just complete BS. Like I said, I hope it's a formality and it's just something they're doing. If they're actually serious and they're going to try to enforce this, they are the biggest joke in pro sports.
Wow.
That's it. There's the rant. That was quick. When we come back, we'll get back in the Tennessee Titans and things that aren't as dumb as that. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Third and final hour here, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3. The Game. Jake Lyman in for Robby. Ian Safar producing. We are broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. I'm Joe Rexrode. Sorry about today's technical difficulties, not finding things, my computer shutting down, and me way too often going, "Urgh." I don't even like it various, but I mean, I think that's kind of how Dan Campbell sounds, right?
It's close. Yeah, close enough. And to be fair, technical difficulties better today than they were on Monday.
That's true. That is true. We think we are going to get through all 3 hours today. So as long as these cars out here don't smash into any poles,
everybody drive carefully out there.
We should be all right. So Charles Robinson is going to rejoin the show on the regular. But at this time of year, of course, for Charles is he does the training camp tour. He's all over the place. So we may have to kind of switch sometimes around. So we may be able to get Charles tomorrow, hopefully. But today he is in transit out of pocket. So, but that is coming back, talking NFL with Charles. We just talked Titans media policy, which it's one of those things where, you're outraged by it because you're like as a media person. And then sometimes you're like, do people care about this? It's kind of like, they let go Robbie Bourne and it was a terrible decision by them. And by the way, Robbie Bourne leaves and here comes a terrible media policy that should be the laughing stock of the NFL. But again, do fans care? You get but you gotta, you should care if this is actually them trying to enforce this and actually trying to do this. You should care because it means that seriously, this is the softest organization in pro sports. I'm not kidding. Like it's now some may have this policy written out and like everybody says, great, who cares? Sure, say it. But they just didn't before. So why now is it written in? That's my thing. Like if these people, and look, I've said it before, Jake. Rand Carthon. He didn't he didn't really get it about I'm sorry, but like if you're someone in a job like that, you have to deal with a certain amount of people. And it's not even like trying to get scoops or breaking news. It's like, hey, can you explain this to me? Can you explain that to me? Having an informed media, if you're someone who has a job coaching, GMing, whatever, is a good thing for you if you don't suck. If you are competent at your job, you want people who cover the team to actually know things and give them some off-the-record information so they're more informed. Now, if you're trying to hide from everybody because you're incompetent and the emperor has no clothes, that's why you do stuff like this.
Yeah, I'm wondering if maybe it is a fine print thing that a lot of places have. Because I know I was a beat reporter in college for Virginia Tech men's basketball. And who was the coach then? Was it Buzz? No, Buzz was there my freshman year. I didn't cover the team, but it was Mike Young.
Yeah.
But
how was he?
He's good. He's good. Very, very personable. But it was written out at Virginia Tech that all contact has to go through the communications department.
And that's much more common in college.
Right. And as a student reporter, I'm going to follow that. However, I would guess that Andy Bitter, who covered the team for The Athletic, probably was texting. At that point, it was Justin Fuente or Mike Young. And
absolutely he was.
So I think maybe that's something that they have to put in there for the media at large. But obviously, the people who have sources and connections are going to be reaching out to those people.
You can't cover, I was on a college beat for a long, long time. And yeah, you can't. You can't cover it if you can't text a coach, an assistant coach, player, parent. And again, now you get parents. That's different. That's not covered by a policy, but you can't do it. You can't cover it. You can't. Again, you can't just go to press conferences and just here's the regurgitated stuff. Okay, let's talk about that. No, you can't. So, I would be interested now actually to know if how many teams have that as a written policy. Maybe the Titans are one of those teams that didn't do it, and it's one of those just procedural things.
Right.
And if that's the case, I still don't apologize, but at least I would understand. Again, if there's any sort of impulse over there to actually try to enforce that or make that a real thing. Oh God, the Kaharski meltdown alone is going to be worth the price of admission. Okay, he's going to start just showing up at people's houses. Oh, you don't think I can talk to you? I'm going to sit here right here in your yard and talk to you. I mean, that's what's going to happen with Car. So I mean, this is.
You should have saved this rant for tomorrow.
Yeah, well, Kaharski will be in tomorrow, and I'm sure we will get into that, and he can say his piece, and hopefully we can understand what he's trying to say. So. On the Titans front, we talked about this earlier in the show. I want to get back into it a little bit. Day one of the takeaways, big picture takeaways from day one, was that the energy was lacking. Energy was lacking. It was in Cam Ward's. Well, let's listen to what Cam Ward said about from the offensive side, day one of Titans practice. I just caught Ian in the middle of something. Ian's in there finding more terrible things I've said.
Scoreboard out there when no wins or losses. How do you measure progress here during training camp?
Everything is always measured off a win or loss. Practice is 80 plays a day. That's a whole game. We were mid in practice today offensively, but it's first day. You get better every day. We just gotta try and just repeat. And not stay the same. Just try to get better.
So there you go. Mid is the word. Great word. Like the word. It reminds me of sketch.
Yeah. I put mid and sketch and sus. They're all the, I guess that would be.
Is that your generation? Or is that like younger than you?
That'd be like
generation?
Gen Z slang. I guess I'm technically Gen Z because I'm not a millennial. But I'm borderline. Yeah.
You're the gray beard of the Gen Z.
Yeah. Like I don't feel like I fit in with like millennial. I definitely wouldn't fit in with, but I don't think I'm quite on the Gen Z side either.
Yeah. And I'm so old. Like millennials are still like little kids to me. Like, you're not a millennial. Okay. So you had that, and there was Connor said it when I talked to him yesterday before Jared versus Joe. Other people, D-May said it on the air, right? That it was just sort of, does that matter? I guess to me, it's like, I don't remember that being a thing. There are training camp practices, every single team where some coach or some player, like a leader on a team or a coach, will be pissed and will say something at a press conference like that was unacceptable, and somebody yell at somebody like this crap. It always happens out here in the sun. All these training camps, you're exhausted. The dog days, it gets so monotonous. So of course it's going to happen. I can't remember a day one thing really on that. I guess it's almost just like assumed that everybody's just going to go out there and it's going to be super exciting to be in day one of practice. Ian brought up earlier in the show, and I hadn't thought of it in these terms, but Ian brought up earlier in the show, they did just hear from their GM, their front office berserker, their GM and president of football ops, that essentially, because Big Joe asked about the Super Bowl, like, we suck.
Yeah.
Is there a correlation? Is there a correlation? Does anybody buy that? It's an interesting thought.
It is an interesting thought, and they said it without saying it that this team's not going to be very good this year. I mean, Mike Borgonzi, we have a lot of work to do on this roster, and they were talking about how they're going to shuffle things, and they have number one waiver priority. So maybe that does affect the team. I agree with you that I don't know if I can remember a time where the first practice of training camp, we were hearing about a lack of energy, but who knows? Maybe it was just a bad day, and they'll come back today and they'll have tons of energy, because you're right. During a training camp, every single team across the NFL is going to have multiple days where somebody says, yeah, we weren't good enough today. That was not a good practice. Maybe they'll bounce back today. If it continues throughout the week, and if we hear today that it was mid again today, and Saturday, if everybody at the stadium is like, man, this team they don't have any juice, then I think maybe you start to be concerned about it. I don't have a huge level of concern. Again, with limited expectations of what this team is going to be, I don't have too much concern about this being a long-term issue that this team doesn't have juice.
Yeah. They can have a lot of juice and everybody can talk about their energy. It would almost be Like if that's what you're hearing as a Titans fan, then you're still bracing yourself for a lot of L's, right? But you want, look, there's the coaching aspect, and we're going to get into that. And we're going to get into Brian Callahan, the coaching backward-headed motivator. But there's also, do you have guys on the team who are leaders? Do you have someone who's going to get after somebody? I think we know Jeff Simmons brings intensity, but doesn't check all the boxes of a team leader. So who is that? And it's asking a lot of a rookie. Cam Ward came out. Again, someone earlier said that they thought he was throwing his teammates on the bus. I don't agree with that, but he was critical of the overall collective performance, including his own, on the offensive side of the ball. But who on this team gets after people? Who on this team does? I think that's a
fair question.
I think that's something that we're going to have to find out, and they really need some people to emerge in that way. Texter says on the media policy says, I don't know anything about media relations, but I was assumed all requests to speak to personnel, coaches, or players went through them first anyways. Interesting to know this isn't necessarily the case. They set up the press conferences, of course, when after practice, when you're talking to players. Now, it used to be you just go in the locker room and you talk to whoever you want. Now, this Vrabel screwed a lot of things up when he was here on the media side, frankly. But now you have to get them off the practice field, and the PR people help you. Okay, hey, here you go. Come over here. So, they're helping you. Now, during the season, the NFL policy is an open locker room. So you go in and talk to whoever you want. That's it. It's open for a certain amount of time, and that's it. But no, to cover a team, you have to have conversations beyond the officially arranged conversations, or else you really aren't going to know jack about the team. So, but I figured there'd be a little bit of that, like first of all, who cares? But also, oh, that's how it works. So when we come back, we will talk about Brian Callahan and his backward hat. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. This September, Tim McGraw will be performing at Trinitix's Rock the Cradle in Nashville, a meaningful event supporting newborns and moms at Ascension St. Thomas Midtown. Get your tickets now at rockthecradlenashville.org. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode 125-1063 The Game. So we're talking Titans. We got a lot of reaction going on here, variety of spots. I'm trying to keep, stay on top of this stuff. Corey Curtis is texting me, to the point that we asked about, okay, so you're going into a season and the GM in the front office basically says, hey, we suck. Does that affect you? Corey says, well, they just picked first in the draft. So it's like confirming the sky is blue. And I think that's fair. And we said that too. We talked about that earlier. But at the same time, if you publicly hear the people who put together your football team say your football team isn't good, not in so many words, but to paraphrase, that was pretty much the entire theme of the first presser. Does that have any sort of effect? I would argue that if it does bother you in any way other than you're pissed off, then this may not be the league for you, right? Like I
these are grown men.
But I think it's a fair thing to bring up.
No, I agree. I think it's fair. But last year we talked so much about how the Titans set expectations too high. And I said yesterday how Rand Carthon said they checked every box and all that stuff. And there was all this talk about them being competitive. I'm fine with them being a little bit more honest and basically tempering expectations and saying, yeah, like every year we want to win the Super Bowl. No one's going into the season saying, we don't want to win the Super Bowl, but there's a lot of work to do to get there. I really hope that doesn't bring the mood of the locker room so far down that they just don't have juice on the field. I'm hoping it was just an anomaly where, they went out there, maybe just didn't have a great day. We'll see. They get back on the field in about 30 minutes here. And if it's a problem again, then maybe you have to start asking these questions of like, man, did the locker room just lose all their juice because Berserker said they're not going to be any good?
Speaking of questions, we do have player interviews, latest updates from Titans training camp during camp. And we have Chasing Big Joe. Coverage of Titans training camp is presented by Macero and 12 South Empowerment Energy Group. And I would like Big Joe maybe to go over there today and just follow up and be like, okay, the team that you have on the field, can you win 7 games? I think you should just ask, until we can find like the number. Of course, this is now Brian Callahan answering the questions. The Berserker's off the hook for this. But speaking of Brian Callahan, he gave a speech to his team. The Titans tweeted it out. And, listen for yourself.
The energy that I felt when you guys came back in the building. I feel your confidence. I feel your excitement, right? Our execution, our effort, and our elimination of sins, right? That's the Titans trio. You want to see execution, you want to see unbelievable effort, and you want to see a team that plays a clean brand of football. Those are the things that we're focused on. What I get motivated by is the way that you guys came into work today. That's what motivates me. That's what gets me excited because I know what we have in this room because I believe in what you guys are capable of. And when you come in the building and you wake up in the morning, that's what should get you going, is that you got a group of guys in here that have put a ton of time and effort into it, and that we're going to be a team that plays hard and makes life hell for any team we play because we are capable of being a damn good football team. How many days until we play our first game? Anybody know? 47 days. So we should feel the urgency every time we walk in. It should be urgent as shit. We have to make each other better every day we step out.
That was Brian Callahan wearing a backward baseball hat as you are wearing now. So, again, that part of it became a big talking point yesterday. What's up?
I'm talking about your clothes.
Okay, I just realized who he sounds like. Do you know who he's –
Who's he?
Brian Callahan.
I was kind of wondering, too. It's very familiar.
You know who he sounds like?
In that speech?
He sounds like John C. Reilly in the movie Step Brothers.
Yes, he does.
Right?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay,
yeah.
Ian, I know that we only have like about a half hour left in the show, but I swear there are sound clips, and he was in other movies too, but for whatever reason, there's a few lines in the movie Step Brothers by John C. Reilly that I swear sounds exactly when he sort of artificially, I know, we're a damn good team. When
you
he
touch
sort
my
of
drum set?
What's that? Yeah, exactly. That's it. I think we've got it. It's just, yeah. So, like, there's a lot of people who haven't heard it. Someone texting, first time hearing that. Yikes. Indy Ben says that speech sounds so fake and forced. Now, Indy Ben, your team has issues too, but I'm not going to disagree with you. It's like, does it really matter? Again, it's like all these things. Firing up the team, telling the team they stink, telling the team they're great, all that stuff. Be a professional. Go out there and most of you are trying to fight to be in the league. So I don't care what anybody says to you. I don't care if someone's singing lullabies to you. Like, it should be absolute full tilt every day. And then obviously there are different guys in different situations. I mean, I think Cam Ward is a very serious player who's trying to be as good as he can be and trying to already starting to take on some leadership mantle. But I do like, if I like the Titans tweeting that out, like that clip probably doesn't help Brian Callahan with the fans. I don't know about the team. Again, what does a team care about? Team cares about a coach being smart and being smarter than the other coaches and putting them in position to win, not motivating them. I think motivating teams is such an overrated thing, especially in pro sports. They want to know that he's good. If he's good, they respect it. And they want a good work environment. I mean, I don't need someone like, now granted, Chase every week puts me in a room and screams at me and slams me against the wall to get my crap
He
together.
does like the Harbaugh to Kaepernick.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't help that much, but I mean, it's worth a shot. But like that clip is just, it doesn't help.
It
doesn't help.
Blown out of proportion, but yeah, like
Yes,
that wasn't.
That's fair.
That's probably not what Brian Callahan wanted for his image right now. But you're right. Like, Brian Callahan motivating somebody is just it's not one of the most important parts of his job. You look at that room, there's 90 guys in there. You could say 50 of them are just fighting to make the roster, if not more. And then you've got probably half of the other ones who are trying to get that big second contract, which is where you make all your money. And then you've got the 10 or 15 guys who have gotten to their second contract who are getting paid a lot of money to go do their job do their job well. So I'm not really worried about Brian Callahan's front of the meeting room speeches all that much. I really I could not care less about how fake he sounds when he's yelling. If he does a good job, he does a good job.
I agree, but we must make fun of it. Like, we are,
for sure.
we are obligated. Kyle Tucker just texted me. Yeah, we could break the internet if we can, go back and forth between John C. Reilly and Brian Cal. He's just sent me this. What? Did we just become best friends? God, such an underrated movie. If you haven't seen that movie, have you seen that movie?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't need to ask Ian, right? Like, I don't need to ask Ian if he's seen Step Brothers.
I have seen Step Brothers, yes.
Okay, this is one of those. I mean, I don't even consider that like one of the greats, but it's still like a movie you have to see.
I mean,
right?
it's one of the most quotable movies of the last 20, 25 years, I would say. I mean, did you touch my drum set? Did we just become best friends?
So Scott from Andersonville says that when he talks like that, it is the body parts on the drum set speech.
Yeah.
That's exactly like this. So I like, it's funny because I just watched that movie again. It had been years. And yet I like, every time I heard this, I'm like, what is that? I know that voice. I know it.
Yeah, that's a great pull, because that is like John C. Reilly's in a lot of other movies, but like his character in Talladega Nights has an accent. Like, it's not like that. Like, it is Step Brothers John C. Reilly that you can hear in that speech.
And look, you'd rather be Step Brothers John C. Reilly than Boogie Nights John C. Reilly, okay, who I think was called Chess Rockwell. All right, when we come back, we'll continue on this. Keep talking about the Titans, Brian Callahan, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 125-106.3 The Game. I'm Joe Rexrode. Jake Lyman in for Robbie Stanley. Ian Safar producing. Brian Callahan sounding just like John C. freaking Riley and Step Brothers. My goodness. I wonder, like, if his job interview with Titans brass was anything like the job interview when those two guys like were in their tuxedos. You know, talking to Seth Rogen. That was a good scene. Someone bringing up boats and hose. Is that like their video?
They made the music video.
What was the name of
the Santa Maria?
Yeah, what was the name of the company? Like Prestige?
Prestige Worldwide.
Prestige Worldwide. Amazing. Texter says, I always wonder what it must be like listening to media in cities like Carolina and others where everyone knew their team had no chance. It would be at the bottom of the standings at the end of the season. Now I know. What can you say? Everyone wants there to be hope, but in reality, we all realize the Titans have virtually no chance of going anywhere, and the coach has become a joke. Now, again, we are having fun with Brian Callahan. Now, this is one of those things some people may take way too far and take seriously and want to run him out of town. He just sounds like the dude from Step Brothers. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Right. There's nothing to do with his job performance.
And this was a forced speech, and I would say, like, yeah, who knows? Is it like, are you it's going to be filmed and it's going to be tweeted out, so you're trying to give a little more oomph there? I would say be yourself. There are other coaches in this league, I guarantee you, who don't give the fire and brimstone and the Newt Rockney speech. We know that every time the Lions win a freaking game, the entire internet must sit there and listen to Dan. I just love you so much. I can't get over here. I'm going to give you a headlock. I mean, like, some people do that stuff, and that's natural, and that's who they are. Great. But, I mean, you brought up like Cal Shanahan.
Yeah, do you think
what is Cal Shanahan? Cal Shanahan is not doing that stuff, and he's done pretty well for himself. There are plenty of guys, the guy who Callahan worked for, like Zach Taylor in Miami. I mean, come on. And, he may be falling out of favor there. But
well, I mean, even look at the guy who just won the Super Bowl. Nick Sirianni's pretty cringy too. Like, you watch some of his stuff, like maybe his speeches come a little more natural, but he's a pretty cringeworthy guy. Doesn't mean he's not a good football coach.
He is a bit cringy. But, it's just different personalities. There's a wide range. The central casting football coach of old is, frankly, being somewhat phased out, right? And it didn't come across, other than the amazing John C. Riley voice comparison, it just came off a little bit inauthentic. Doesn't mean he can't help himself this year as a coach. I mean, the problem is he came in and took this job, and he took over a terrible team, and he didn't do enough to help it last year. And now he looks like he has another terrible team, but he does at least have a quarterback who could change everything.
Right. And if the Titans went 14-3 instead of 3-14 last year, I really don't think that this speech is garnering as much attention as it is right now. There are a lot of people who already have their mind made up on Callahan, and they're using this as another knock against him. He's cringy. He can't motivate his team. Let's see what he does on the field this year. Super Bowls are not won and lost on the motivational speech given on the first day of training camp.
Exactly. Adam in Portland says, no matter how bad it sounds for Brian Callahan, he'll never be as bad as Liam Cohen saying Duval, like a weirdo. All right, let's go to the phone line driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com. Mark in Nashville. Sorry you've been waiting so long, Mark. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, Joe. What's up, Jake from State Farm? Joe, I've been sitting over here, man, at this hot truck stop, putting in 50 cents every couple of minutes on this payphone trying to talk to you, man. You're really long-winded, Joe.
Dang, I'm sorry. Those exist still? This is amazing.
Yeah, I got my
called collect.
Out here. Yeah, my bounty towels out here wiping my arms off and stuff, man. I'm sweating, Joe. I'm sweating, man.
I'm sorry. What have you got for us?
No, you talking about the type. Well, how many guys you think that speech resonated with? Probably none. I mean, Cam Ward's probably going to have to be the leader for that team. I mean, that seat must be pretty warm over there with Callahan, man, for him to have to drum up a speech like that. That was pretty useless, but that is a bad roster over there, Joe. I go back time again. They say Brinker and Borgonzi say that they wanted to build this roster and whatever. Joe, they should have traded back picks, man. That's how you build over there. And not spend all this money on free agency like they did. But, yeah, man, I got them going just winning maybe 4 or 5 games this year, and I hate to say it, it may be the end of the era for Callahan. I just don't see it working over there with the Tennessee Titans this year, man. That roster's not good at all. But hey, Joe, you and Jake have a good day, man. I just wanted to put that out here. I have to get back in the truck and get cool, man, so I can get down this road.
Get that AC pumping. Get that AC pumping.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Mark. Thanks for the call, buddy.
Yeah, you're doing a good job, Joe.
Thank you, my friend. Let's go to Wes in Hermitage. He's on the line, too, also waiting. I hope you didn't wait as long as Mark did, Wes.
No, I didn't have to go through a whole roll of quarters, Joe, so I appreciate it, man. I call you guys whenever I have a hard time putting things together. And I tried to text Jared something towards the end of his show. He tried to read it, and I had a bunch of typos. So I'm just going to reword it to y'all and just kind of get your thoughts on this. So yesterday, the general, consensus was that practice was mid. It lacked energy. It wasn't a very good practice. I don't know if that's a B grade or a C grade. But then I hear this speech, and Callahan's like, yeah, what gets me motivated is what brought you guys into practice today. And I'm like, okay, so help me understand. There was a lack of energy. Practice was mid, but how they practiced motivated him. So when they actually do come in with energy, is that just going to be overwhelming to him? Or like, I'm having a hard time understanding everything that came out about yesterday's practice.
Thank you, Wes. That's an interesting point. Now, the thing is,
that speech was from Tuesday.
Yeah, so I think that speech was just. I mean, I guess it's even worse than Wes said. Like he's like motivated by how they like. Oh, look at how they parked their car and walked in the building. Yeah, I love how you hung up your sweatshirt in your locker.
The way you sat down in that chair right there inspired me.
The way you opened your notebook as I started talking. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, a lot of this stuff is just. And it's kind of extraneous, right? It's you got the coach saying, "Man, I believe you. We'd be a damn good football team." You got the front office basically kind of laughing at each other and saying, yeah, Big Joe, yeah, the goal is to win the Super Bowl. We got a lot of work to do. And a lot of work to do for them means we have a lot of players on this team that we need to replace with better football players, but we just can't do it right now. So. Some of these players that we wish we didn't have on our team are going to play for us this year. I mean, that's basically what they said, right?
Right.
But, I mean, look, that's an honest assessment, and I don't expect a coach like Callahan to come in and be like, I'm really worried about how many days do we play, and let's go. Let's get excited. Is it necessary? Does it help? No. Does it hurt? I don't think so. It's just, but again, it's like one of those things. If the Titans are going to tweet that out, then then there's going to be the reaction to it.
You open it up to Twitter and everybody getting their hands on it. Jared Stillman has just texted me.
Oh, good.
He wants me to turn my cap around.
Good. You know what? Keep it just like it is. Keep it just like it is, Jake, because it's 2025. Jared actually said, like, would Tom Landry? No, Tom Landry wore a top hat because it was the 1960s. He would not wear a backwards baseball cap in 1967. My God.
I want Callahan to wear a sleeveless shirt or something next time they post one of those things and just see where Jared goes with that one.
There you go. Yeah, I don't really get the big deal with the backward hat. I just like
there's a successful
NFL head coach who was in the NFC Championship game last year who wears it every game.
Right.
Do people make a big deal out of this?
I don't get the backlash. I don't wear my cap backwards typically, but I don't think
good. And we got the Tigers logo there for everybody to see.
I don't think
even
anybody.
though we lost 9 of 10.
You don't lose any credibility with me if you wear your cap backwards.
Yeah. Now again, the speech itself that may be a different matter.
Right.
Dennis on the text line, driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com, says, "I had the Titans at 7 wins after seeing that speech. I have them at 4 wins max." So yeah, look, it's one of those things that. Does it really matter for Brian Callahan's purposes if like the fan base likes him? I mean, when it comes down to it, not really.
If he wins, they'll like him.
If he wins, if Cam Ward is successful. And that's the thing. Like if Cam Ward looks good, then he's going to get credit for that. And some people will just say he's doing it despite him, but that's what his job is. The reason he has a job in this league and a head coach job in this league is because he's supposed to be good with quarterbacks, and he's worked with some of the best. Whether he helped them do any of their good things or not, he was there, and that's why he has this job, and that's what he's supposed to be. So, if Cam Ward succeeds and develops this year, then this stuff doesn't matter. And yeah, if it ends up going bad and they're terrible and the overall product just doesn't look like it has a good CEO in place and Cam's not great, then he's out of here. And this will be one of those things that we bring up again on his way out the door.
Right. Do we think Vegas shifted the Titans win total because of the backwards hat or the speech yesterday? Like, it does not, nothing that happened in the last 2 days is going to affect winning. Like, we'll see how it trends throughout training camp. Like, obviously the overall trend of how practice is going is important, but the opening speech and the first day of training camp, like, that's not going to win you a game on the field in September, October, November.
Right. Kenny from Spring Hill does good correction, Kenny. That was a fedora that Tom Landry wore. Yes. I mean, I guess what if Tom Landry put it sideways? Like, what? Oh my God! Actually, that would have been pretty funny. We come back. There is some breaking NFL news that doesn't sound great. Robby and Rexrode 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
because I know what we have in this room.
Did you touch my drum set? Hey, knock it off. I know you touched my drumstick.
Because I believe in what you guys are capable of.
You swear on your mom's life that you didn't touch it then.
The urgency every time we walk in.
I know you touched my drum set, and I want to hear that dirty little mouth admit it.
It should be urgent as shit. We have to make each other better every day we step out.
If you touch my drums, I will stab you in the neck with a knife.
Holy crap. Oh, the final segment, Robby Rexrode, Ian Safar has pulled it off. I mean,
that was phenomenal.
That's a keeper for sure. And right, like that, it's the same voice.
It was the inflections. I can't believe you pulled that because
thank you.
It's tough to
sometimes this brain just random stuff just leaks out of it.
It's tough to make those comparisons with voices, especially. It's like, who does he sound like? That was perfect. I love that.
That's insane. That is insane. You know, we always sit here and we talk about, well, what if Callahan gets fired? Is he on the hot seat? New timeline, different coach. What if he's great? What if he's an amazing coach and he and Cam Ward are about to take over the league like they're Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes? If that's the case, that right there, he and John, like I could see like some sort of thing where John C. Reilly comes to practice and like they're hanging out and, they can be, or maybe Will Ferrell. And then he can be like the John C. Reilly guy and Will Ferrell. You see what I'm saying? Like there's marketing opportunities with this if it goes well. So let's always remember there's always a bright side.
The day after the Titans win the Super Bowl and Brian Callahan lifts the Lombardi, you can start off the morning show on Monday with that. That's how you'll lead it off.
I mean, seriously, like I know that like Ian just took art, from another like source, but like Ian should be like, you should get royalties off that thing. You know what I mean?
I'll take them.
That should be some kind of royalties for Ian. Brian on the text line says, I nearly shot coffee out of my nose just now. I mean, that was pretty fantastic. Pretty fantastic. Okay, not fantastic news. I'm going to go to my favorite source on the Jets, Zach Rosenblatt, my beat writer. Not mine. I don't employ him, but I work with him at The Athletic. First of all, here's the first tweet. Justin Fields limping to the sideline. Here's the second tweet. Justin Fields is being tended to by a trainer right now. He ran one play of 11 on 11, was pressured. Then the Jets stopped the team drill to do special teams as Fields limped to the sideline. Here's the third tweet. Justin Fields is being carted inside after limping off and being checked by a trainer. Not great. So not going to jump to conclusions. Really hope it's not, because sometimes that, non-contact stuff can be real serious, right? You're pressured. You're just kind of running around. All of a sudden you start limping around. And sometimes it's an ankle. The carting is concerning, though. The carting, because if it's like you blew up your ankle, you probably just get helped in.
Right. To get checked on by the trainer and then carted off doesn't scream that it's good news. But who knows? It is the first week of training camp. Maybe they're just operating out of an abundance of caution to make sure that everything's okay.
Yeah. So we hope so. And I know Jets fans hope so. I was kind of surprised, and good for him, that Justin Fields just got the Jets job this year after last year in Pittsburgh. So Tyrod Taylor is the backup.
Tyrod time.
Yeah. So Hokies.
Go Hokies.
We love the Hokies. But that's probably not great news. He's a great journeyman pro, can come in, but it's just not gonna make Jets football easy to watch if that's the case. It just sucks for Fields if this is serious, but we'll hold off and find out.
Right. We don't know. It doesn't seem good, but again, it's so early in training camp. Maybe they're just trying to be as careful as possible. But Tyrod, everywhere he's gone when he's played, he's done pretty well. So I don't know how much of a downgrade it is from Justin Fields to Tyrod Taylor.
He is getting up there a little bit.
Right. He's getting a little older. The mobility is probably not what it used to be. I just don't think the Jets were going to be very good either way.
Yeah, no, that's true. Tons of reaction, great participation today. I want to try to rip through as much of this as I can get to. First of all, Nate says on the media policy, it sounds like they don't want y'all asking questions at press conferences or after games in the locker room. No, I mean those are arranged. Those are the officially arranged. I mean that's NFL policy. Like you can't not have those. You can't not have press conferences. You can't not have open locker room. They're talking about don't text our GM, don't text our head coach, et cetera, et cetera. That's what it is. Texter says, Ian is the best producer in the business. I consider myself famous because I went to high school with him. Please give us your name. I mean, I could read your name aloud and Ian might know it, but just, let us know. But you're right about Ian. Daniel Ryan says simply incredible on the Ian mashup there. Texter says, when you guys have to say, sure, Callahan's a joke, but that doesn't mean he can't still be a good coach. It's already a lost cause. Well, again, there are coaches in this league who are successful who you can find some audio and video clips where you'd be like, oh my, I mean, first of all, I've been having fun with Dan Campbell today. I mean, come on. The guy's talking about biting kneecaps in his first presser, and we all made fun of him. They end up being good. So now it's like, man, that guy's got great attributes, but we all made fun of Dan Campbell. I mean, Sean McVay sometimes comes off like a prominent D-bag in LA, and there's like an abundance of them. But he's a great football coach. So I disagree with you. You can be a great football coach and have a personality that offends or comes up short in many ways.
Yeah, I mean, we're making fun of this speech because it was funny. Like, but that it has nothing to do with his ability to coach a football team. Like, again, you'd like a coach to be able to command the room up front, and I think there's respect for him in that locker room. But the most important thing for Brian Callahan is being able to develop a quarterback, and that has nothing to do with giving big motivational speeches at the front of the team room.
And look, to your now, I don't know what the respect level is in the locker room.
Right, we don't know that.
I mean, look, again, these guys are all pros. The guys who are going to be on the 53, they're all well paid. And last year, going through the year, I have to think at times, certainly some Titans players are like, dude, who is this special teams coach? What are we doing? I wonder if at times people look at the OC and say, we could be better here. This is not good enough. You know, Denard Wilson, very impressive guy, rising star.
First time DC.
All of these guys had personnel limitations that makes it very difficult to just slice everything up and know who did what and what kind of job they're doing. You need and the same thing with Brian Callahan. But that team last year did not make up for its lack of personnel issues, except every once in a while. The game at Houston would be one example. But did not nearly enough make up for that. And so what kind of CEO is he? I mean, I don't know. But if you're a player on this team, the way that he has your respect is you know that he's smart enough and you know that he's putting together game plans and making adjustments on sidelines in games that give you a chance to win, give you an edge at times, right? Whatever when he says to them in the meeting, I mean, it's just, Evanzy's on the YouTube chat says Vrabel can command a room. I bet that helped his last couple of years here. Yeah, like Vrabel had a team that overachieved, no question. He's a better coach than Brian Callahan. But we don't know for sure that Brian Callahan is a terrible coach.
Agreed.
Unless you really, really put stock in hat wear. All right, Chase and Big Joe are live out at camp. They're coming up 102.5, 106.3 The Game.